Hello, Mr. Cove here, and today I want to talk about rep schemes at the gym. I've been working out for dozens of years now, and I've tried all kinds of things. I've done 5 by 5 and 3 by 10. I've done bro splits. I've done push pull legs. I've done those are Romanian workouts where you're doing very low reps every single day. Uh, so I've done a lot of different things, and uh, while everything works, I do think the biggest and most important thing for people is to get to the gym in the first place. That's the biggest hurdle. That's the most important piece of the puzzle, right? After that, though, we do want to look at what's productive. And then I think possibly even more important than less looked at is what's fun and interesting. And that's where exercise choice and rep schemes can come in. So first, I want to go over a few rep schemes and just talk about their advantages and disadvantages. Let's look at the gold standard first. We have 5 by 5. Now, this can mean a couple different things. It can involve warm-up sets included in the 5 sets. So maybe really just a working set of 3 by 5 at a higher weight, and then a standard 5 by 5 where you're doing a static weight for all 5 sets. Um, Now, the reason why a set of 5 is really good is because it has mechanical tension at that rep range, and it also has mechanical tension at a slightly higher rep range. So, for example, if you're doing a set of 5, but really you can do 8 of those at that weight, doing a set of 5 is still going to give you mechanical tension, even though you're only doing a set of 5. So it really has kind of a worked in um, advantage of, even if you're not pushing yourself really hard, by doing that rep range, you're still going to get a lot out of it. And that is not the case with some other rep schemes. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, what I really dislike about doing a static 5 by 5 is that the variation between the sets can be quite a bit. You can have those first couple sets feel very easy, and then by the time you get to the last set, you're really struggling to get that set of 5. Now, that is good for metabolic fatigue, but mentally, I do think it can be annoying to do sets of 5 statically, um, for a long period of time. So even though it's very effective, it has that kind of worked in mechanism of allowing you to kind of not be at your best, but still get a lot out of it. Um, but mentally, it can be annoying where those first sets just feel easy and aren't really pushing you, and then the last sets are kind of miserable where you're really trying to bust through getting to 5. So that's kind of where it falls through for me. But when I'm really trying to build muscle and get a little bit more out of my workout, 5 by 5 is great. Now let's talk about 3 sets of 10. This is also great and very efficient. It's going to get you out of the gym quick while still doing a rep range that's going to build muscle and build strength. The problem with it is most people are doing it incorrectly. So if you're doing a set of 10, but you can really do that set, that weight 15, 20 times, that is too high where you're not getting any mechanical tension with that set of 10. And since you're not pushing yourself to the point of failure or close to it, you're also not getting any metabolic stress either. So that's where you're really going to stagnate, and you're just kind of going through the motions. You're doing 3 sets of 10. You're probably not resting much because you're not using a weight that's really too hard for you. And then you're just kind of going to be stuck, not really progressing from that point. And so that's what I see in the gym mostly with 3 sets of 10. It's not that the 3 sets of 10 itself is bad, but people just aren't doing it with enough weight to be getting something out of it. And unlike the 5 by 5, you really have to be doing a weight that's going to be very close to failure, at least by the last set. So if you're not doing that, it's too high of a rep range to be getting much out of it otherwise. But if you do it right, it is great for getting you out of the gym and still getting a lot out of it. So now let's talk about a straight pyramid. I don't particularly like this either, but it is great for getting a large amount of volume within different rep ranges. The general idea here is that you're going to start at a low weight with higher reps, say 10, 12, whatever you want to start with, and then you're going to increase the weight and do less reps with each set up to a peak. And your peak could be 1, 3, 5 reps, whatever you feel like doing with that. The problem with that is by the time you get to that peak, you've already done a lot of work and you're going to be fatigued. And so if you're trying to get more of a max strength at the top of it, that's not going to work too well since you've already, done a lot of volume on your way up. And so, where maybe you could have done, a certain weight 5 times, now you're doing it, maybe twice or something. So that's why I like to modify it slightly, where my way up the pyramid is mostly just warming up. That gives me a couple of advantages where, at the top, I'm able to work that maximal strength, but I also get to see how I'm doing for the day so I can adjust where I want my peak for that day. So, maybe I came into the gym and I was going to peak at 295, but I feel really good. So now I'm going to do a set on top of that at 315. And by slowly working my way up and not doing a lot of volume on the way, I'm able to kind of vary that. And that mentally can be a lot of fun to not know what you're expecting, to do for the day. And you're just kind of like, let's see how I'm going to do. And your workout gets to vary a little bit compared to, say a 5x5 where you know exactly what you're going to be doing going into the gym. And also, you're able to get the volume on the way down and you can do more drop sets if you want. So normal pyramid, you worked your way up and then you hit a peak and then you do the same thing on the way down. So whatever you were doing, on the way up, you're doing on the way down. But in this case, since it's a reverse pyramid, now you're getting the volume and the actual work of the workout done. So you've peaked, say you peak at 315 and you do 1 to 3 reps, and then you drop down to 295 and you do 3 to 5 reps, and then 275, 5 to 8, and then 245, 8 to 10, and then 225, 10 to 12. That's going to give you enough volume to have a good workout, and you've kind of worked within all the rep ranges. You've got your maximal strength at the top. You get the mechanical stress in the middle with the 3 to 8 rep range, and then at the end you can push yourself to failure, almost failure, at the bottom with a set of 10 to 12 or whatever. And then if you wanted more additional work beyond that, you could do a couple sets at the same where you're really just draining yourself at the end to get more volume and metabolic stress at the end. So the reason I prefer that again is, you still get to do that peak, and since you're not fatigued on the way up, that can kind of vary and keep it interesting. So, and then you're not really cutting into the volume because you can just add it to the end if you want. And that way you're not cutting yourself short with any of the rep ranges. Doing a maximal lift at the top, close to it. Again, I wouldn't be doing 1 rep maxes, but say you're doing a set of 3 or something, and it's pretty hard at the top. Usually, you're still able to, that's not enough volume that a few minutes later you're not able to get good sets after that with the mid rep range. So there's a few reasons why I prefer this, other than what I've stated. And the most important thing is that it can vary day to day, right? So if you're feeling great, you can add rep ranges to the top. And if you're not feeling so good, you can still get a good workout, instead of just say you're doing a set of 5x5, really having a bad day, you haven't slept, whatever the reason is that you're not having a good workout. Maybe you've dropped a few pounds, and now maybe you're not getting to 5 reps on 3 of your sets, right? So you came into the gym, you had a plan. With the reverse pyramid, your plan can adjust with you while you're doing it, and you can still feel like you worked, pretty much what you could possibly do, but within all the rep ranges. Instead of not having much volume because you couldn't do the sets of 5, you're still able to do that with the reverse pyramid by just having the drop sets at the end. So I also like doing 5x5. Again, I think for just building muscle, if you can get by it mentally, it is great. I also like doing a progression where you're doing, like, say you start at 3 sets of 12, you do that for a couple weeks, and then you do 3 sets of 10 for a couple, 3 sets of 8, 4 sets of 6. You get the idea. Maybe you get to the end, you're doing 3 sets of 8 at the end, or sorry, 8 sets of 3. That can be really fun where you're adding weight, every couple weeks, and regardless of how you're doing, you still have that progression because you're lowering the rep ranges. It can feel like you're, getting a lot out of it. So that's fun as well. And you do have to mix things up. You don't want to do the same thing continually, or you're not going to have that progression. But having a rep scheme that's really fun for you can be a big advantage on trying to get to the gym. And again, that's the kind of the biggest piece of the puzzle, is getting there. And then if you have something that you're not dreading, or maybe you're not dreading it, but at least bored by it, that's not quite as fun as going to the gym and not being sure what you're going to do that day. So if any of you guys are trying to mix things up, you haven't tried a reverse pyramid, I would suggest you give it a try. It gives a little bit of everything and has been my favorite rep scheme for quite a while now. So that is about it for this video. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you guys next time.